Sharon Elizabeth Fulton was born on the 31st of May 1946 in Dubbo, New South Wales. She was the only child of Robert and Betty Hume. On the 8th of July 1967, she married Maxwell Robert Fulton at St Paul's Presbyterian Church in Brisbane. Robert served in the Royal Australian Air Force, and over the following years the family moved between postings across Australia and overseas before settling in the Perth suburb of Duncraig in February 1983. By 1986, Sharon was 39 years old and the mother of 4 children. Friends remembered her as a devoted mother who enjoyed spending time with family and competing in local 10-pin bowling competitions. In May 1985, almost a year before she disappeared, Sharon sought legal advice and began preparing family court documents to end her marriage. In those documents, she wrote that the relationship had irretrievably broken down. She attributed the breakdown to her husband's unfaithfulness and described the atmosphere in the family home as tense and cold. Sharon did not complete the separation proceedings and continued living at the family home with Robert and their children. On Monday, the 17th of March 1986, Sharon argued with her husband. Later that day, she met with her close friend Narelle Harrison. Concerned for her friend's welfare, Narelle offered Sharon and her children a place to stay. Sharon thanked her friend but remained at the family home, intending to be there the following morning to help get the children ready for school. The following morning, Tuesday the 18th of March 1986, Sharon left the family home on Reedshaw Road at about 9:30 a.m. Earlier that morning, she telephoned a friend to say she might be late arriving at an 11 o'clock print party because she first had an appointment in Perth. Before heading into the city, Sharon dropped her 3-year-old son at a preschool activity in Wangara. She then continued with her plans for the day, which included her appointment in Perth before meeting friends at the print party. Sharon never arrived, and as the hours passed, she failed to return home or contact her family. Later that morning, Robert Fulton collected their 3-year-old son and returned to the family home. 3 days later, on Friday, the 21st of March 1986, Robert Fulton reported Sharon missing. Western Australia Police commenced a missing person investigation. Western Australia Police began investigating Sharon's disappearance by interviewing family members, friends and anyone who had seen her in the days leading up to the 18th of March 1986. Robert Fulton initially told detectives that Sharon had left him for another man. In the days and years that followed, he gave several different accounts of what had happened, including claims that he had driven Sharon to a Perth railway station with an overnight bag before returning home. Despite extensive inquiries, investigators were unable to verify those accounts or determine what had happened to Sharon. As the investigation continued, detectives found no evidence that Sharon had accessed her bank accounts, contacted family or friends, or established a new life elsewhere. No confirmed sightings of her were ever reported after the 18th of March 1986. In 1990, Sharon's disappearance featured on the television program Australia's Most Wanted in the hope that new information would emerge. Despite the national appeal, no significant new leads were identified. 3 years later, after Sharon had been missing for more than 7 years, Robert Fulton applied to the Queensland Supreme Court to administer her estate. In an affidavit, he stated that he believed Sharon had died and described the efforts he claimed to have made to locate her. The court granted the application, allowing Sharon's estate to be administered under Queensland law. Although the estate proceedings had concluded, Western Australia Police continued investigating Sharon's disappearance. In 2006, detectives from the Special Crime Squad reviewed the case. After examining the available evidence, they concluded there were suspicious circumstances surrounding Sharon's disappearance and began treating the matter as a suspected homicide. The investigation was reviewed again in 2017 by detectives from the cold case homicide team. By then, Robert Fulton had legally changed his name to Raymond Reddington and was living in Queensland. Detectives travelled interstate to interview him, where he claimed to be suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Investigators remained unconvinced after observing him carrying out everyday activities, including gambling, while appearing alert and aware. The renewed investigation was also driven by Sharon's family, who had spent decades searching for answers. Her youngest son, Heath Fulton, secretly recorded conversations with his father in the hope of learning what had happened to his mother. During one of those conversations, Reddington again claimed he had dropped Sharon at a railway station on the morning she disappeared before returning home to collect the children. In 2021, the Coroner's Court of Western Australia commenced an inquest into Sharon's disappearance. During the proceedings, an anonymous letter was sent to the Coroner's Court claiming Sharon had been murdered by a construction worker and buried beneath a concrete slab. Detectives subjected the letter to forensic examination. DNA recovered from inside the envelope matched Raymond Reddington, establishing that he had sent the anonymous letter. On the 10th of January 2023, Deputy State Coroner Nicholas Pavlidis found that Sharon Fulton had died as the result of homicide, and found that Raymond Reddington had been involved, either directly or indirectly, in her death. The coroner referred the matter to Western Australia Police for further investigation.
Yesterday, Special Crime Squad detectives extradited Raymond Reddington from Port Macquarie in New South Wales and charged him with 1 count of willful murder in relation to the 1986 disappearance of Sharon Fulton. At the time of her disappearance, Sharon was 39 years old and the mother to 4 children. The impact of her disappearance on those children has been horrific over the last 37 years. Her family and friends have been seeking answers, and we're hoping today that they have some answers to her disappearance. What today shows is that WA Police is very, very committed to solving these offences. This offence is 37 years old, and WA Police will never give up on any of these unsolved homicide cases.
The case would now be decided before a jury in the Supreme Court of Western Australia. Raymond Reddington's trial commenced before a jury in the Supreme Court of Western Australia in early 2026. Over several weeks, the jury heard evidence from police investigators, forensic experts, family members and friends as prosecutors sought to prove that Reddington had murdered Sharon on or about the 18th of March 1986 before concealing her body. The prosecution told the jury that Sharon had been preparing to leave the marriage. Family court documents showed she had sought sole custody of the couple's 4 children, sole occupancy of the family home, and ongoing financial support. Prosecutors argued that, if the separation proceeded, Reddington stood to lose both financially and personally. Jurors also heard that only weeks before Sharon disappeared, Reddington had taken out life insurance policies over Sharon's life with a combined value of approximately $120,000. After she had been missing for more than 7 years, he successfully applied to administer her estate and later received the insurance payout. The prosecution also relied on evidence surrounding the anonymous letter sent to the coroner's court during the 2021 inquest. The letter attempted to direct investigators towards another suspect and claimed Sharon had been buried beneath a concrete slab. Forensic testing established that DNA recovered from inside the envelope matched Raymond Reddington. Witnesses described Sharon's deteriorating marriage and her plans to separate. Narelle Harrison told the jury that Sharon appeared very frightened when they met on the day before she disappeared and recalled offering Sharon and her children a place to stay. The defence argued that the prosecution's case was entirely circumstantial. Defence counsel submitted there was no direct evidence proving Sharon had been murdered or identifying who was responsible, and suggested there were alternative explanations for her disappearance. After hearing the evidence, the jury retired to consider its verdict. On the 26th of February 2026, after approximately 4 hours of deliberation, the jury found Raymond Reddington guilty of murdering Sharon Fulton. 1 month later, on the 30th of March 2026, Justice Joseph McGrath sentenced him to life imprisonment with a minimum non-parole period of 20 years. During sentencing, Justice McGrath rejected any suggestion that Sharon had abandoned her family, describing her as a devoted mother whose disappearance had devastated those closest to her. Addressing Reddington directly, he said, "Only you know where you concealed the deceased's body." Nearly 4 decades after Sharon disappeared, her family finally had the answer they had waited so long to hear. But despite the conviction, one part of the case remains unresolved. Sharon Elizabeth Fulton's body has never been found. Outside the court, her sons had this to say.
"Mum, you are not forgotten. You are not erased. You are not just a case file. And I will not stop searching for you and for the full truth of what happened to you for the rest of my life.
Today's verdict closes a chapter in our lives. The last chapter is finding Mum's body. So that way we can bring her home and give her the respectful burial she deserves.
Western Australia Police continue to appeal for information that may help locate Sharon's remains so that she can finally be returned to her family. If you have any information about the disappearance of Sharon Elizabeth Fulton, no matter how insignificant it may seem, please contact Crime Stoppers. Your information could help provide the answers Sharon's family have been waiting nearly 4 decades to receive. Thank you for watching. If you found this documentary informative, please consider subscribing to Oculus Lupi. Your support helps us continue producing carefully researched documentaries. If you'd like to share your thoughts on this case, or have additional information from reliable sources, please leave a respectful comment below.